Welcome into Bobcat Insider. I'm Ashley Washburn alongside Keaton Glogly, your host for the next 30 minutes as we talk about nothing but Bobcat football and lots to talk about this last Saturday. Still kind of catching up on my sleep because it was quite the late game in Bobcat Stadium.
Yeah, but even though it was late and it was a little bit wet, it didn't dampen any of the spirits of Bobcat Nation. I'll tell you, I had ringing in my ears after this game. It was so loud, especially that first half.
I was standing next to Ken, and I'm like, holy cow, I still am just now getting my hearing back.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild spot, and it had quite a scene all day.
Absolutely. Well, and if you unfortunately weren't able to get to the game or you missed part of that first quarter, we've got the sight and sounds from MTN's Brandon Sullivan.
Hello and welcome live to a soggy, wet, cloudy Bobcat Stadium. Looking for their second conference win this evening against a very difficult UC Davis squad at Bobcat Stadium in Bozeman.
These late kickoffs are always a challenge as a player, as a coach, but these guys will be ready to go and have a home field advantage for these Cats this evening. Whether you play for Montana State or you get to come here as a visitor, you realize how impressive it is to be able to come into this stadium. You play in front of a packed house every single Saturday when they're here in Bozeman. And so when you're a visiting team, you look forward to it. It feels just like a big-time college atmosphere, and these kids are lucky to play in it.
Chambers keeps it. He runs right. He's got some space. He's across the 30. Sean Chambers to the house. Beautiful snag. Baseball down the right sideline. Cleveland Thomas, two-hit, basket. Cats get the victory. It was a heck of a night at Bobcat Stadium.
Definitely worth the 3:30 a.m. bedtime, but I will say I woke up with quite a few questions, good questions though, about what's that quarterback room going to look like once Tommy Malott comes back healthy, because Sean definitely made a case for himself of why he deserves more playing time.
No doubt. And, Brent Vigen has held the company line. It's going to be a collaboration between these two guys, but you got to figure that the performance the last 2 weeks from Sean Chambers is going to impact the way they use these two quarterbacks when Malott gets back. Plus, we saw the wide receivers make some big plays, and that defense, man, is still maddening. It's so up and so down, but they're coming up with big plays, and we're going to get some answers to these questions with head coach Brent Vigen after this on the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider. I'm Keaton Glogly alongside head coach Brent Vigen, and Cats are off to a 2-0 Big Sky start after the win against UC Davis this last week. And Coach, I know it sounds so cliche to say you got to throw out that 1-3 record, now 1-4 record for UC Davis, but that is a really good football team. And when you look at kind of where they are in the Big Sky, I mean, is everybody going to be this good all season long?
Well, I think we gotta expect each opponent to have a bunch of talented guys, and I know going into UC Davis, we felt like on both sides of the ball that they were really good, and difficult schedule to this point for them. It'll be interesting to see how they finish up, but yeah, each and every week in the Big Sky is going to be a test. Everybody's got good players. We have good players, and it's just it's fun to see how these games play out on Saturdays.
Well, it was certainly fun to watch Sean Chambers play out in this game on Saturday, over 200 yards through the air and on the ground. First of all, just the way he ran in this game, at times it looked like he was running in slow motion, just being patient, letting some of his blockers kind of develop in that way. I mean, did you see a difference in kind of his energy from Eastern Washington to UC Davis?
Well, I think his opportunity was different. Certainly, you go into the week preparing to start. It's just different. You know, you get to run all those plays in practice a little bit more intently. You get to run them with the ones as opposed to the twos, so maybe it looks a little bit different over the course of the week. Obviously, getting off to the start that he did and we did with the second play, going 78 yards, untouched. That gets your mind right in a hurry. And you know, he had 2 long runs where the blocking and the scheme was terrific, and all he had to do was really run fast, and he can do that. But other than that, I thought he played a real good game, both passing and running. Made some big plays with his arm, but then also with his legs on third down that kept some things moving. So really pleased with his performance, and we'll need that to obviously continue.
Now, it's been a lot of fun, I think, for fans to see the way you guys have evolved in your usage of Sean Chambers. Those first couple games, he was kind of your closing Wildcat quarterback style in the red zone, and then we started to see him and Tommy get on the field at the same time a little bit. When Tommy gets back, you know, how much do the last 2 weeks impact the way you want to use those two guys on the field together?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think each game, I think we'll definitely go in planning on using them both, like we did when they were both healthy. In how each defense presents itself, and then how each game plays out will probably dictate the usage to some degree. But there's certainly 2 of our better offensive players, 2 of our better football players, period, on our team, and to have them, you know, one of them standing on the sideline doesn't make a lot of sense. So, you know, it'll be creative minds put together, I guess, when Tommy's healthy again, to see how that all does play out.
Now, one of the other fun aspects of this UC Davis game was seeing the 3 top starting wide receivers really get some action. You know, Willie Patterson, touchdown catch. Cleveland Thomas, a touchdown catch. Robbie Alston, a really big kind of drive sustaining catch as well. What do you feel like was the difference to get all 3 of those guys going in this game?
Well, opportunity first off. I think you know, we got our early opportunities to Robbie. Kind of in the middle of it was Willie. You know, a couple back-to-back opportunities, a long catch and a touchdown the next play. We got Cleveland on the outside for his touchdown. I think the biggest thing is, you know, we got to play more than just those 3. That allows each one of those guys to be fresh. It allows Cleveland to get on the outside a little bit more. Willie certainly got some flexibility as well. We have a explosive group there, and we need to, you know, go after all 3 of them. Get Taco and Marquis in the mix as well, because I do think our receiver group can really make an impact, certainly in the pass game, but also in the running game as well.
Finally, I want to ask you a little bit about where you feel like your defense is right now, because we've seen them give up some big plays, but at the same time, the last 2 weeks, those last couple of drives, they've come up with some really big stops and plays. So where do you feel like your defense is right now?
Yeah, I think the last 2 weeks we've played really good in stretches against 2 good offenses. 2 good offenses that pose problems, both being able to run the football and throw it, and then certainly doing the mix of the run-pass option. I think that's you know, that's a part of defensive football right now across the board, across the country. It's difficult to defend, and you know, I think the good thing, we responded in that game, gave up some things. I think we corrected some things so that it wasn't the same plays, I guess, hurting us over and over again. And Davis is going to get some. I think that's we have to realize that. And ultimately, you know, the big thing was they got in the red zone 3 times, and we held them to 3 field goals, and kept that score down, and ultimately didn't let them score in the 4th quarter. So pleased with our progress. There's still some things we got to continue to correct on defense, but I think we're coming along.
All right, before we get you set for Idaho State coming up on Saturday, Ashley Washburn is up next with the next episode of The Final Drive.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Hey yo, run it up, 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 run it up on a night and run it up, 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 I said I'm on a night and run it up.
Well, let's get right into it. 6 years of college football for both of you, and it's all coming to a close this season right here in this very stadium. Can you even put into words that this is it?
I mean, it's going to be surreal for sure, being that, like you said, 6 years. Like, I remember my first fall camp at 18 years old. So it's going to be exciting, but it's going to be, I would say, emotional for sure.
It's really going to be speechless once it comes all to an end, and just really the whole experience, the whole journey for me being here for 6 years, not leaving, and it's just speechless, really.
Take me back when you guys first met, though, because I know this friendship started way before Bobcat football.
We met in middle school through mutual friends, and we've essentially been best friends ever since.
Well, that friendship that kind of sparked off of football ultimately got you here to Montana State. Talk to me about how, I know you probably had a little hand in recruiting him here just 2 years ago.
All of our safety seniors, they're gone. So he was just like, what's the word? Can you put in a word for me? And I already know that he had got an offer from Montana State his junior year in high school, and that was his first one. And with the coaching staff we still had, I'm just like, all right, they already know Jeffrey, so they know I'm good friends with Jeffrey. They try to get him here, so let's try to get him here again. So it's just all, and it just trickled down just like that.
And I was going to say, you mentioned it happened in a matter of just a couple days span, but it kind of all started with you watching Montana State play North Dakota State. You know, walk me through what that couple days was where you ultimately were here in Bozeman all of a sudden.
Me and my dad watching football, he clicked to ESPN, and then I literally, Montana State's on defense, number 2 Tyrell's in the screen. I'm like, well, that's real. And then I see them playing Trey Lance, North Dakota State. And then I think this was a Sunday maybe. And then so I thought on it for a little bit, and then I called Tyrell that Tuesday because obviously they just had a game. And then I told him obviously what he just said, and then Coach Choate got in contact with me, and then I was here on a visit Thursday.
Happened very, very quick, but what's it been like sharing the field together? I mean, you guys got to share the field in middle school. Did you ever think that it would be the same way finishing out your college careers?
I mean, that's obviously the plan with your best friends growing up, but I feel like ours was just, the journey took a little longer, but it manifested in a way still.
Now, you guys both know, you have known each other for quite a long time, but I know that your guys' dads have also kind of been friends, but it wasn't really until you guys both got to Bozeman. It's so funny seeing them up in the stands together. For fans that are watching, I mean, they don't get to see your guys' dads together. What's that relationship like, that, you know, just seeing them both together?
They're just
best friends. Really.
Yeah, I feel like how I would see it, they essentially, they almost live through us. Like, because, you know, our parents, obviously, they played their sports growing up. Their days are long and over. So they see their sons out there, so they're loving it. And I feel like it's like me and Tyrell, our dads just bounce off of each other, and the energy's there.
They always just going back and forth on the same thing, and they already, if you really see them in action, you'd be like, okay, I get it. I get it.
Now, Bozeman is a lot different than LA, especially Compton or Bellflower. What was your first impression when you guys moved to Bozeman? I mean, you know, Christmas or holidays, it's 70 degrees in Southern California, and here it's snowy and -20.
I'll be honest, my first day here, I wanted to go home my first day. My first day here, it was 9 degrees and white snow everywhere. And I think all I had was my Dickie jacket. And so I had to go redirect, buy clothes, obviously, but that was my first impression. But other than that, the city's beautiful. I mean, I love Bozeman. Bozeman loves me.
First day I came, there was hiking up the M. I came in jeans, some foam posits, some boots, basically, and I had to hike it up. And it was the summer, so I'm just like, oh, it's beautiful. It's open air, but it felt like a new universe you're in, you know. Then the second time was during my actual official visit, and it was snowing. And Pete's Hill, it was full of snow. It looks very different when it's covered in snow.
Very small percentage of athletes get to say that they played college football, and to make it out of your guys' hometowns where you said, you know, going to college, it wasn't an easy thing to do. How prideful are you guys in that?
I'm gonna go on record and say it. I'm my parents first to graduate from college, so I feel like that's a big accomplishment for me.
Hi, Mom! I made it out of Compton to go to school, go to college. One of the 3 to finish college. My brother finished, my sisters finished, but I think I'm also the first one to enter a master program. I'm not really sure, but I think I am, and I'm gonna take that credit.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take that credit, because that's what I know of, my knowledge of it, but I'm gonna take that credit.
Well, a friendship that started on the playground together playing football, you guys get to finish that football career here at Montana State together. What do you want your message to be when you do your final drive on this field in a Bobcat Stadium?
My message wants to be that I'm a tough cat and that I could call this place home. And I have brothers here, family here.
What about you?
I feel like my biggest thing is just that Jeff is a Bobcat through and through. I mean, my journey was a little different getting to this point. Tyrell was here. He saw the program get built from the ground up, essentially. So I would say that I want to say that I am a pillar to Montana State.
Absolutely. Well, and kind of bouncing off of that, I know you guys want to play football for as long as you can, but what is next after Bobcat football?
Just live where my 10 toes is, find a way, and just make life what it is at that moment.
I feel like just taking it day by day, and just see where I end up.
Well, I have no doubt that wherever you guys end up, it's going to be awesome. So good luck this fall.
Thank you.
Run it up, 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 run it up on a night and run it up, 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 run it up on a night and run it up.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Back on the Bobcat Insider, I'm Keaton Galogly alongside head coach Brent Vegan, and it's homecoming week. Montana State hosting Idaho State on Saturday for a 2 o'clock kickoff. And Coach, first of all, it's homecoming. It's always fun, always nice. You excited to see some of the old guys coming back and watching them interact with their program?
Yeah, for sure. I know we have an opportunity on Friday for practice to have as many of the former players that are in town come back and just have a moment out there with our current team. And that's always special, those opportunities to bring guys back, to tie, the present with the past, and because our guys playing right now, they'll be former players before they know it. So to just gain that appreciation for the big network of guys they're a part of.
Yeah, it's a deep network of alumni for sure, and they're going to watch a good game. So Idaho State, now they're winless at this point. They're coming off a game against Montana, and especially in that first half, they played really, really hard. Where did you see them maybe find some success against Montana early in that game?
Well, I thought they made plays on both sides of the football. They got some takeaways in the midst of that game. They were able to move the ball both on the ground and through the air against Montana. And while it didn't work out in their favor, you're right. They fought. They got it ultimately to a one-score game. They were down, and it was almost a game that was going to get blown wide open. But they found a way to hang in there, and that's a credit to where they're at right now. They're first year with his staff and Coach Regal. They're scraping and crawling for whatever they can get, and that's a place you like to be because the guys are hungry. You can see that in the way they play, and we're going to have a challenge on our hands.
One of the guys who's going to be a challenge is Xavier Guillory, number one of the top receivers in the conference right now. What do they do to try to get the ball in his hands?
They move him around first off. They try to get him matched up. He can play inside and out. He's really good off the line. He's hard to defend man-to-man, and then he's really good after the catch, and it's shown up over and over again. He can catch the deep ball, but more so it's the quick slants and those type of passes that get the ball in his hand quick, and then he makes defenders miss. So, we're going to have to know where he's at first of all, because they have other guys too, but in particular know where number one's at and try to minimize what he does against us.
Finally, their defense, it looked like they got Lucas Johnson on the move a little bit in that game. What did you think from their defensive line in that performance last week?
Yeah, they show you multiple looks, and they do move around a little bit. I think that can cause some confusion. Again, playing hard. They're a good linebacking crew as well. So, we'll have to be on top of our game, and we want to certainly protect our quarterbacks and, be able to run and pass as best we can.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, Ashley Washburn will rejoin us as we get you set for homecoming weekend. Montana State and Idaho State coming up on Saturday. This is the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
All right, here we go. Idaho State is next on deck. And Ashley, this is an Idaho State team. Yes, they're winless. I know it sounds cliche when we say you got to throw out the record, but they had some big plays. I know they're on their third quarterback, but they've got one of the best wide receivers in the conference right now, and they looked strong at times against this Montana defense.
They did, and that's why I'm really excited to see Rylan Ork come back and play on Montana State's defense, because we've seen them give up some of those chunk plays, and you can definitely see what we've missed in those couple weeks of him being out. So definitely looking forward to having him coming back and seeing what impact he could make come Saturday.
I'm looking forward on the offensive side. Are we going to see Lane Sumner finally get back because he's healthy and he's getting hit this week? How are we going to see this wide receiver core continue to evolve? Are we going to see some more Taco Dollar, Marquis Johnson, and maybe Cleveland Thomas Jr. on the outside as well? So I think there's a lot of questions on this offensive side in a good way about how they utilize all of these weapons.
Absolutely, and it's crazy to think we're almost like halfway through. Football season is flying by. You'll be able to listen to Keaton on the Bobcat Sports Radio Network, or you can actually watch the game right here on the CW. Kickoff is set for 2 p.m. It's going to be a fun one in Bobcat Stadium.
Let's do it.
For Keaton Galogly, I'm Ashley Washburn. We'll see you next week.